Hey, happy Friday, everybody. I'm actually going to pre-record a video for you guys this Friday because my day started this morning at 1:30. So just after midnight, had to get up, have some breakfast, drink plenty of coffee, and get ready for the cold air that we saw last night. I think we did okay, but it's always nerve-wracking when we have these cold temperatures. So today I'd like to show you a little bit of what happens on the cold nights and how we deal with the unique growing climate that we have here. And please forgive my sleep-deprived ramblings in some of these videos, but this time of year always drives us a little bit crazy, but we do it for the wine. As the first rays of sunlight come over the mountain, we can start seeing all 5 of the wind machines here at CrossKeys. They're spread out evenly to provide the most protection. And right now it's about 31 degrees, and I'm going to head inside and warm up. When people first start working in wineries, it's hard for them to get used to working in 54, 55 degrees. It seems cold. That's why winemakers are always wearing vests. But on nights like tonight, this is where we warm up. We usually don't say the F word, but on days like this, when it's already happened, I guess I'm not jinxing anything. I've been here since about 1:30 this morning. It's been a rough night, but now the clouds are starting to move in. Sun is now rising. Had a pretty moonrise over the mountains this evening. You can see the sun rising with Massanutten in the foreground there. Hopefully we made it through. Nothing but time will tell us. But we got all the wind machines running. And it looks like we gained a couple of degrees, and hopefully that's all we need. It's Steve from CrossKeys again. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, and unfortunately we've run into a very serious issue. This is my last espresso. I'm totally out of Cafe Bustelo. Looks like it's time to break the glass on the emergency Starbucks double shot. All right, so it's getting after 7 o'clock in the morning, and the wind machines are starting to shut down. You can see this one right behind me has already stopped. The Petit Verdot has already stopped over there. And then a couple of the other ones, you can hear them cooling down, starting to finish up. So here's a rundown of how they work and what they look like. So these are wind towers, the wind machines. They run off of propane. So it is actually the same kind of engine they use in school buses, but it's been converted to run on propane. And it's got engine controls that a bird pooped on at some point, and then also the temperature and automatic controls. So handy availability to get them to start on their own at night, although I never trust that because I'm always worried something will go wrong. So we're always here anyways, but at least it prevents us from panicking quite as much in the morning. You can see the ambient air temperature outside is getting warmer. It's up to 39 in this block, and so it has turned itself off at this point. But anyways, the engine runs a gearbox for a big shaft that will spin that propeller blade, and it's slightly angled downwards, so the wind will blow all through the blocks. And they can make it quite a long ways, definitely at least a couple hundred yards away. But we usually keep them working in concert because they kind of help each other out as they're going. So tonight's cold was caused by just cold air coming in. So we got pretty cold just based on the atmosphere. It wasn't really a true frost event. Frost is that we can fix with the wind machines is called a temperature inversion, and that's where the heat radiating from the ground causes a cold air layer to sink below a warmer air mass on top. And so, the first 4 to 6 feet above the ground are really cold and can drop below freezing, but there's actually warmer air above that. And what the fans do is they just mix up and stir the air in order to bring a little bit more of that warmer air lower into the vineyard. However, it's still a possibility that you'll get a little bit of that radiation cooling and a slight inversion even on a cold day. So I didn't want to drop even colder than we actually were, which is why we're here running the wind machines. And kind of the first indication of that is as I was driving in, I smelled smoke. So people obviously on a cold night were burning in their chimneys, and you'll see things like fog start forming close to the ground. If you ever look off the top of the mountain and see low fog or cloud layers, that's a sign of a temperature inversion. Or if when the smoke out of a chimney just kind of comes out of the chimney and stays at chimney height, that's indicating unmixed air. So kind of my first thought was, as I was driving in, the fact that I smelled at least 3 different times as I was driving here people's smoke, it made me think that we might have an inversion layer developing. And then we do have temperature sensors all throughout the vineyard at different heights. And all the wind machines have their own temperature sensors as well. So we have a pretty good feel for what the temperature is at the vineyard. But the quick and dirty way, just to confirm that we weren't running the wind machines for no reason, is this little setup right here, where I put one temperature logger up high and one down low. And I see if the one up high is a little bit warmer than the one below. So today I think the wind machines actually did gain us about 2 degrees. We still drop below freezing here, but we have a lot of methods we use to try to keep ourselves protected in that situation. But we didn't really hit what I think our critical temperature was probably 29 degrees based on our bud development, and we were able to stay above that. Here's the last wind machine this morning that's still running at full power. Just to give you an idea how loud it is and how fast those blades move, it's like having 5 helicopters above the vineyard. And actually people do use helicopters for frost protection, but it costs a lot of money to run a helicopter, and if something were to go wrong and it had to return to the airport, you would be unprotected. So wind machines, while not super economical, are a little bit more reliable than a helicopter. But they do make a lot of noise, and let's just say we have to be nice neighbors the other times of the year. The 2 most important frost protection strategies we have here at CrossKeys are, number 1, where we plant the vineyards. You can see that they're all up on the hillsides, and we have a deep valley that has a stream in it that runs through the center of the property. And cold air during an inversion is heavier than the warmer air above it, so it'll fall to the ground and then fall down to the bottom of the property. So the more sensitive the variety, the higher on the hill it goes, and it gets a wind machine, although most of our vineyards here are technically covered by a wind machine. But sensitive varieties closest to the wind machine, planted on the uphill side of any of the terrain. And then the second thing that we did, because this April was so warm, we knew that we were going to have an early bud break. And instead of pruning like normal, we did a double prune. And so we left the shoots from last year very, very long. And you can see that the top here, this shoot, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 leaves unfolded. You can even see the fruit. This is actually going to turn into flowers and then fruit. But this is way too high. That's nothing we keep. But grapevines grow in such a way that the buds furthest away from the trunk and roots grow first. It's called apical dominance. And so these buds will come out, start growing, and that will actually delay the development of the buds further down. This is a lateral, which are even further away because they come off of the main shoot. So they come early too. You can see as we start to get closer to the buds that we want to keep, the shoots are smaller. You can see this bud is still tight. These are starting, well, he's probably just a dead bud. These 2 are starting to swell. Then as we get down, really the only 2 buds we care about are these 2. This guy right here and that guy right there. That's where all of our fruit is. Those have the best growth and fruit potential. So even though this bud right here, I imagine in a few hours, this is going to be black and fall off and be dead, but it's okay. We didn't want to keep it anyways. There's a chance that this one just is damaged and, you know, maybe pulls through, maybe doesn't. These guys, I think, are probably good down to about 28, 29 degrees. And I think that the buds that we want to keep are still so tight that this cold temperature won't really affect them at all. Some of our vineyards are cane pruned, which means that every year we just take 2 canes from the head of a vine and then tie them to the wire. In this situation, we don't have that option for double pruning. So what we do is apply via spray a nutrient called KDL. And it is a potassium-based almost fertilizer, which acts as a cryoprotectant, almost like antifreeze, that'll get inside the vine and help us keep the buds from freezing at slightly colder temperatures. So that's it for frost night. It's a lot of driving around and making sure that the wind machines are still running, checking battery voltage, oil temperatures, making sure the temperature sensors themselves don't get melted on the exhaust. So as much as there's not a lot to do, you for some reason are busy all day, or all night. That pretty much wraps it up for today. We're looking forward to trying it all again on Saturday night. We also were ready and prepared on Thursday night, last night, for the same situation, but we got lucky then and never really even dropped below 38 degrees. So hopefully we have that same kind of luck moving forward. I will definitely find a way to restock on coffee, espresso powder before Saturday. But everybody, please send your warm wishes, your warm thoughts. I know it's nice to have a nice, cool and extended spring, but hey, let's keep the low temperatures around 40, please. I hope you guys learned a little bit today about what we do and kind of all the aspects that go into making a bottle of wine. It starts a year before we get the grapes and lasts a year after we pick them. So it's definitely a long and drawn out process with lots of decisions and challenges along the way, but we're feeling good. Looking forward to another good vintage here at CrossKeys. Don't forget, this weekend we are running the date night special. Go to Facebook, CrossKeys Vineyards Facebook page to find out more information, but it's a date in a box. So hopefully it'll provide a little bit of relief from everybody's quarantine, and you can enjoy some good wine and some good food. And then along with that, we've been doing this as well. We are proud to say that with the assistance of Randy up at Cave Ridge, we now have bottled our very first sparkling wine. It's called Nouvelle. I'm very, very excited about it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. We'll have information about release and tasting with that on the website and on Facebook and all of our social media pages soon to come. And finally, next week, next Friday, I will be back in person and tasting Petit Verdot. We will start shipping out those samples on Monday, so please make your order before Monday, and it's going to be interesting. It'll be an exciting time to taste some wine out of the barrel before I've had a chance to really polish it up and get it ready for bottle. I think the wines are exceptional, but it'll be very interesting, I think, for people to taste a very, very young wine and then go vertical with that and taste some of the Petit Verdot as it ages and develops in the bottle. So it should be a very interesting tasting, and I look forward to speaking with you guys, taking questions next week. Goodbye.